We said earlier that there's a lot of homestead channels that have a lot of good information.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're starting to find that maybe the videos we're doing right now aren't so much instructional as much as they are encouragement or making sure you apply to your real life, to everyday life. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, but a homesteader doesn't go around all day long with a hoe in their hand and fermentation in their hand, and go, oh, I'm a homesteader. We live just like it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a lawyer or a homemaker or a carpenter. I mean, you have that's part of who you are, but you have a daily life. And the thing is learning how to intertwine it all and knowing that there's this big picture that what we obtain in knowledge is valuable and needs to be shared. Oldsteaders.
They ain't what they used to be.
Speaking to your younger self, you gotta think way back.
Oh boy.
What would you tell your younger self about homesteading so you were prepared as an oldsteader?
Oh, I think one thing I would say to myself, to my younger self, we don't have to start off with everything we want.
Did we do that?
No, we did not do
I
that.
was going to say, I don't remember doing that, but we did feel some pressure.
But you see the mentality growing over the years to where, when young people buy a house, they don't buy a small house or a starter home anymore.
Right.
They buy, like the mini mansion type thing, or the cars and stuff. They buy. You go in debt for $30,000 for an automobile for your first car. Type thing. We don't need to have the best and the latest and the greatest.
So did that make you? Because like I said, we didn't do that because we couldn't afford that.
I think it's important to follow your dream. So oftentimes, I think our dream gets set aside because we get caught up in the now.
Right. Yep. I think I would say have a vision for your dream. It's one thing to have a dream, but it's another thing to have a plan, or at least a plan. And you have to. Some people have plans and they're so set that it has to work out this way, and if it doesn't, then they just eliminate the dream.
Right.
You have to be willing to
go with the flow.
Right. Mm-hmm. But you've got to have a vision for the final outcome of what that dream contains, so that you can meet it and fulfill that dream as much as possible. Not that it would be exactly the same.
I think over time our dreams evolve. I guess I can say, and I got a little off my. What would I tell the younger me?
Now, you're in the prime of your life. You might be an oldsteader. You're closing in on 60, but you're in the prime. So, being a younger you, what would you tell the older you in a few years, looking at oldsteading?
Oh boy, say that again.
Well, let me. I know. Let me start from my approaching 50 to what I would tell an older me. Because we always hear all this. What would you tell the younger you? Mm-hmm. Well, the good Lord willing, and he should wait. He should tarry to come, and we are still here. The younger me, not the youngest me, but the younger me, would like to tell the older me to not worry so much about the unimportant stuff. The memory making, the building, and see the oldsteading. Here's the thing: there's a lot of channels out there that do a lot of homesteading videos, lot of homesteading videos, and that's great. And there's a lot of information, a lot of good information. I'm not, degrading those channels at all. But for us, I think that our channel encompasses so much of our family life, and we have said that homesteading is a part of that. But it's just a part where we can't set homesteading aside and just talk about that. We have to talk about our family as a whole.
Yeah.
And with homesteading, with work, with family life, we do everything from here. We school, we work, we
Church.
live, we church, and that can be all encompassing, and it can be overwhelming, and
Sometimes,
it can push the important things aside. And homesteading, one of the points in homesteading, whether you are young or middle-aged or older, I think, is to embrace something that's supposed to slow you down so that you can embrace all of life and its moments, because life is about moments. Mm-hmm. And if we're always focused on that big event, or that our energies always go to the necessary, we can get sidetracked. Like we were just talking about, keeping your eye on the mark. Well, part of the mark for us is that we create a tight unity and memories, and everybody is involved. And that is so easy to get sidetracked on. And so the me now would tell the older me that in 10 years, a lot of the things that I worry about today aren't going to be important.
Right.
And what's going to be important is the unity and connection that we have based around, homesteading. That, we've known a lot of people, not so many now, but that get consumed. I mean, homesteading's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of
There's
work.
a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of different things that go on.
And when you do so much of the things for yourself, those things are supposed to be enjoyment, but we've seen it be all-encompassing, and we've had it be all-encompassing. And whether you are raising your children, or exposing your grandchildren, or friends, or it doesn't matter if you have kids or don't have kids, but there are people involved in each other's lives, and it should be it's kind of like the video. It's part of homemaking, and learning new skills to pass down to future generations.
Sure.
But a lot of it shouldn't be stressed over,
I think oftentimes we get caught up in the moment, and we allow that moment to continue on,
right?
To the next moment, and looking back over the years, we can see stressing over things that.
Talking to the camera.
There's a camera right there. Right there. Talking to you. I'm talking to me. I was stressing over things that really, looking back, they really weren't worth stressing over.
No.
I remember one of the things I got stressed over, and this is just, nothing. So when Josiah was just little, we went on was it like our first camping trip? No, it wasn't our first camping trip. It was the first time we left Josiah.
Oh.
We left RJ, Leah, and myself went camping for the
north
first
up here.
time. Yeah, we came up north for the.
Now Josiah was but a year old.
Yeah, he was little.
In our care every day.
Yeah. And we left him with his aunt, which was no problem or nothing
Right.
like that. I mean,
She's safe and good.
Yeah, all that.
It was a perfect environment.
Yeah. We got up here. We came up to the UP to go camping. We got up here, and I don't even know if we were up here yet. And she was ready to get back home to get Josiah. We camped out, I think, one night, and turned around and beat feet to get back downstate. That's a 12-hour drive. We got across the bridge and downstate, and we stopped at McDonald's, of all places.
This was pre-organic days.
Yeah, this was 20 years ago. And
21
years ago. And had lunch and came back out to get back on the road, and our truck would not start.
Now, we're in a pickup truck. The reason we didn't take Josiah was because we had a truck, and it had 3 seats.
Well, I had 1 seat for 3 people.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. So 3 people could fit in the truck, yes, correct. And our car wouldn't have been suitable at the time to come up here.
Yeah.
So.
But that would not start. And the truck, the end of the story is I needed to replace the fuel pump. And I was, oh man, sitting in a McDonald's parking lot. I was, but I've changed the fuel pump before, so, I was familiar with it. But it was just,
We're still 3 hours away from home.
Yeah. Leah wanted to get back to Josiah and, and replace the fuel pump. This is a long story. This is the very condensed version. And hit the key, and that still did not start. Man.
I'm going to fill in this condensed version real quick. It's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
He was able, by God's grace, he had tools that he brought because he's just that type of guy. And he was able to get a hold of an auto part via a payphone. This is the day before cell phones.
Yep.
And they brought the part to us.
Yep. They delivered it to us.
Changes, the sun is setting, and it's not starting.
And it's not starting. Man. And I'm sitting in the truck, originally the truck had dual tanks, 2 gas tanks. The secondary tank was not really usable anymore, but it still had the switch on the dash. Well, getting out of the truck to go into McDonald's for lunch, I think RJ was just 5 years old at that time.
In a booster seat.
When he got out, he flipped the switch to the auxiliary tank. And I'm just sitting there, like my hand on my head or whatever, just, now what am I going to do? I just happened to glance down and see the switch on the dash, and it was on auxiliary. I turned the key on, flipped the switch over to the main tank, and I heard the bzzz. Hit the key and cranked over a few times and fired right up. I really didn't even need to change the fuel pump. It was just the tanks got switched. But I got stressed. I didn't, let Leah know and stuff that I was stressed out. But just one of those things that really wasn't a big deal.
Right.
That made a memorable memory. A funny story. You were wanting to get back home, basically before we even left.
Mm-hmm.
Just hurrying to get back home, and the car breaking down, or the truck breaking down, which really didn't break down. And,
right.
Just stressing.
Mm-hmm.
And it really wasn't a stressful moment.
Most things work out.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. Just stay cool.
Stay cool. Like when your kids are dropping their drawers in Walmart because you mentioned, let's try these jeans on, and they think you mean like right there. And you turn around and they've got their pants down to their ankles. There's no need to stress about that. You need to laugh at the moment and tell them to get them pants pulled up before the cameras see them.
The strange thing is, nobody really even noticed. You look around the store, and how many young men do you see walking around with their pants below their rear ends anyway?
Or women with their skirts up above their rear ends. So he blended right in that day, didn't he?
He did. It was just one of them things.
I think that's, there's just memories. I mean, each day is about making memories and working through the provision of your family. I don't know. I just can't emphasize enough the importance of realizing that each day is not about making money. I mean, you have to make money.
Gotta have money to.
You got to pay the bills.
Yep.
But it should be what's on the back burner versus, whatever I've got to do today. Have I let my family, or have I let my spouse, know that they are the center, or that this is building our life. The work we're doing is building our life and not dividing us. I think a lot of couples start off with a vision, and then the vision get separated.
Split.
Yeah. The vision can come in between, and when find out you're an Oldsteader, you're by yourself, or you feel like you're by yourself, when that's not how it should be. It shouldn't be that way.
Right. Needs to be unity.
We used to, not that this has anything to do with Oldsteading, but it could be, especially since our memories go as we get older, and we should keep notes of things we want to remember. But
record them.
Yeah, record them. When the kids were growing up, the best advice I'd ever gotten when the older two were younger, when the older brothers were younger, was keep a notebook in your kitchen drawer and write down things that they say and do that you want to remember. And I think that applies to, I think we should do that with victories as we advance in our lives for our goal of homesteading. So that when we're down or we're feeling downcast, that we can look back, kind of like keeping a journal of your prayers, so that and when they were answered, jotting that down, so that, because we need reminding all the time, especially when we get old. Isn't that right, honey?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I gotta tell you this story. We're talking about stories. We were just kind of talking about it earlier today. When Josiah was little, we had just moved out to a farm, and we had been living in town, and we had moved out in October to the farm.
Was it October?
Yep.
Okay.
Remember, every time we move, it seems to be in October.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for up here, it was in May.
Yep.
And I think spring had come. It was early summer, and we had this. It was a cinder block porch that extended out beyond the covering. And the boys had been out playing the previous day, and their shoes had gotten wet. Their little tennis shoes. Remember the little Velcro tennis shoes? And we put those out on the cinder block ledge to dry. Now again, this is in a part of the porch, but it's open to the outside. And we went to bed, and I don't remember where we had to go the next day, but
to town.
Early, late morning, early afternoon, and we were all ready to go, and we remembered, the shoes are outside. So Ron grabs Josiah's shoes, and Josiah at this time is 3, not old enough to articulate and speak, but not quite old enough to explain, we've got a problem. Slides Josiah's shoes on, and Josiah says, this one shoe hurts, it doesn't fit right. And Ron's like, okay, pulls his foot out. Anyway, so Ron adjusts his shoe, and we go. And Josiah's like, it's squishy, Daddy. And Daddy's like, well, your shoe's just not dry yet. You guys got your shoes wet yesterday, and we need to go. So off we go to town, we come home. And we get home, and Josiah says again, Daddy, my shoe's wet. And Daddy's like, why is your shoe still wet? Takes that shoe off, puts his hand down in, and pulls out what is now a dead toad. There had been a poor toad in that shoe, had taken refuge that night. And when Josiah put his foot in, I have a good suspicion that toad had been alive. But toad's not biting. Just kind of had to deal with the situation, and his toes. Oh, it was nasty. We were talking about that this morning. We'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah. So listen to your kids.
This is the important part about Oldsteading. When you are too achy to go out and do work, you can sit there and talk about all the memories you've accumulated over the years.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh my goodness.
That was funny.
We always check shoes now.
We do. We have for years.
Yes. Thank God that hasn't happened. Thank God it wasn't a snake. Oh my word, I'd have freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been nasty.
So I really don't know how productive of a video this was for oldsteading direction, but this is what you do when you're old. You ramble.
You ramble.
You ramble. Yeah, chores to do.
Live on a homestead. There's always chores to do. Follow your dream. Don't get so caught up in work and other stuff.
I think
work is important.
Right.
That's obvious. We've got to work. We've got to stay focused.
I think it's like a career.
But we need to enjoy our moments and just work towards the mark, strive for the mark,
Right.
keep our eye on the mark.
And I think this is important, especially as we get older. I say this with all respect to anybody that might fit this bill. And I say this in all respect because I have seen it happen more than once. And when I was younger, I questioned what in the world is going on. But as I have gotten older, these are characteristics that I find that are. It's like with each decade, our frame of mind changes slightly, and it's easy as we get older to become very self-absorbed, to become very selfish with the knowledge we have. It's kind of like becoming complacent. You just rather let stuff just go by instead of dealing with it. We just, our mentality can change. I'm not saying this happens to everybody,
No.
but we've seen it happen a lot.
Yeah.
And we've felt the tendency to want to be like that at times, and have had to grab a hold of our thought press. Their thought press.
Thought press? French press.
I'm just trying to
You want a coffee?
condense the conversation and leave out portions of words. Our thought process. And I think one thing is if you're learning new skills as an oldsteader, or you have already obtained skills as an oldsteader, and you're trying to find how you can apply those to your change in life so that you can still do homesteading if that's what you love, but it doesn't require so much effort, that to be generous with the information and the knowledge that you obtain or that you have, so that you not only pass it on to younger people, but people in the same peer group as you that need the information, or just want to learn.
Sure.
I was going to say something. Let me think.
Tried to think and nothing happened.
What'd you say? We said earlier that there's a lot of homestead channels that have a lot of good information.
Oh,
And so we're starting to find that maybe the videos we're doing right now aren't so much instructional as much as they are encouragement or making sure you apply to your real life, to everyday life. I hate to say it, but a homesteader doesn't go around all day long with a hoe in their hand and fermentation in their hand, and go, "Oh, I'm a homesteader." We live just like it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a lawyer or a homemaker or a carpenter. I mean, you have that's part of who you are, but you have a daily life. And the thing is learning how to intertwine it all, and knowing that there's this big picture, that what we obtain in knowledge is valuable and needs to be shared.
What was I going to say?
Trying to think and nothing happened.
Yeah, that happens to me
I
all the
think
time.
I heard that before.
I should be used to it. Well, and I know we say this all the time, but the homesteading is, a lot of it's our mentality.
State of mind, yeah.
State of mind.
Well, I better get to work.
I better get to homesteading. I got chores.
I got dishes. I wish money populated as quickly as dishes.
Me too.
If money produced as quickly as laundry and dishes, we'd all be out of debt. All right, y'all have a great weekend.
God bless.
God bless.